Hello and welcome to Vocal Nebula and the Level 1 Vocal Training course. My name is Joe Naab and I'm the instructor for both this course and the Level 2 course. In this introductory video, I'm going to cover 3 sections. I'm going to talk about what it is you're going to learn in this course and why that's important to you. In the second section, I'm going to talk about some big transformations, big changes going on in the world of vocal training that you may not be aware of. And in the third section, it's going to be a little more practical, very quick about how to use this site and where to find other resources that are available to you in this Level 1 course. Okay, so getting started on what you're going to learn. So some of this comes from the next section about these developments in vocal training have been moving more and more towards seeing the voice as a musical instrument, which it is, of course. So you're going to gain an understanding that the voice is really an instrument as well as the player. It's a self-playing instrument. The instrument itself is divided into 3 parts. You have the part down here, which is the lungs and the muscles around the lungs, the diaphragm, which produce the air pressure needed to make sound. I call this part of the instrument the aerator. The next part is here in the larynx or voice box, where sound is made or tone is produced, and I call this the intonator. And then the third piece of the instrument is your head, which is a resonation chamber, much like the body of a violin or a guitar, except that it's organic and shape-shifting. So I call this the resonator. And that's an interesting observation, is that unlike the other musical instruments we play, the voice is alive, it's organic, it's shape-shifting, so there's so many more moving parts that it becomes imperative for us to learn how to gain an understanding of what these parts are and how to play them. So this creates a natural division between the Level 1 training and the Level 2 course, because Level 1 is about gaining understanding of the instrument and using 4 types of exercises that are more about isolating. So learning what each moving part is, becoming aware of it, how to isolate it, how to move it, and how it sounds when you're moving it in different directions, how it sounds when it's not being used properly versus how it sounds when it's being used properly. So these exercises are usually called awareness, isolation, alternating or alternative, and negative training type exercises. And so they're different than the types of exercises where once you've gained an understanding of this instrument and how to use it, then you're really working it out and you're putting it through its paces to essentially to do two of two things, to correct and restore proper use of the voice as an instrument and these moving parts, and then to go on to strengthen it and build new habits to replace the old habits. Okay, so another thing I try to do here in Vocal Nebula, which is what I do in my own work, is I want to train you to become your own voice coach. This doesn't mean that you can't go out and study with another voice coach. What I've done in my own life is just made it so I'm not dependent on a voice coach. I have a full understanding of the instrument. I have a full understanding of how to move the different moving parts, and I have a full understanding of how to train them and build muscle, build good habits, build agility. And so I can do that for months and months at a time without any kind of private lesson. And then when I need to be evaluated, I can take one or a series of lessons to gain from the insights and observations of a good voice coach. Okay, so in this course, just be patient, because we're going to move a little bit from talking head videos and theory, a little more gradually building on top. Each lesson builds on top of the next lesson. We get more and more into these 4 types of exercises. There won't be any piano or scales in this course, and you'll understand why by the time you finish the course. Okay, but each lesson builds on the next, and you get more and more exercises as we move along. Okay, now in this next section, let's talk about this big transformation going on in vocal training. So it's really in 2 parts. One of them I spoke about briefly, I'll elaborate on, which is this newer understanding of the voice as an instrument. And then the second part is these advances in technology that we've been going through with the ability to record things digitally, with the advent of the internet. And both of these 2 things are very underutilized today in the vocal training world. So there's this transformation happening that I'll explain. So in terms of the voice as an instrument, we've been singing and learning how to sing for 400 years. About in the history of opera and classical singing go back about 400 years. And it's only been in the past 3 decades that we've had the medical technology to actually drop little tiny cameras. We'll either place them up into the nasal passage, put them in the mouth, or drop them down the throat, actually into the larynx, and videotape what's happening when someone's making sound. And these are not just pictures, but actual videos. So there was a woman in the latter decades of the 20th century named Estill, and she devoted 3 or 4 decades to this very thing, which was putting video cameras, taking other types of measurements, but putting video cameras down the throats of the best singers in the world and videotaping them singing in different styles and different techniques, and understanding which muscles, which cartilage, what directions they were moving, how they were being used. And she built a model of the voice. So this is called the Estill model of the voice. And it's not a training method. So it's more about the model, and it contains more the awareness and isolation type exercises just to get to know the moving parts and how to move them around. Well, in the older language, and what you still find in the vocal training world today, is the use of these kind of more general descriptions and metaphors, like use your head voice, push down on the diaphragm, breathe into the belly, put more smile into the sound. And these things are useful. They've been useful for a long time. But remember, what we're after is we want to develop our voice to its fullest potential as fast as we possibly can and as affordably as we can. We don't want to spend $5,000 a year on weekly private lessons for 5 to 10 years. And so how do we go about doing that? Well, already with this deeper understanding of the instrument and the moving parts, we become a much, much better students. When we know, I've experienced this in my own training, is when you know very specifically where the origin of a given problem, and you know how to isolate it, you know how to then use that particular part of the instrument properly, and you know which exercises to do to develop the good habits, you become a much, much better student and you develop much faster. Okay? Now, when you combine that with these advents in technology, so think about this. Think about how for 400 years people had to study the voice. Well, it was even hard in those days to own a piano. So what you had to seek out someone who had a piano and also knew how to teach the voice or play the piano while you were doing your exercises. Okay? And even for people that had a piano at home, they had to find someone to play that piano for them while they were working out. So it wasn't really until we had vinyl and records for most of the 20th century, but it was just too expensive and there wasn't a marketplace for people to put piano scales on a record. So it wasn't until the advent of cassette tapes where you began to see the first couple of courses, which were really just very simple piano scales on a cassette tape. But it was still a major breakthrough in technology that you could actually put these scales on at home, let them play for a half hour to an hour while you did your workouts on top of them. Then you fast forward, you have CDs, and then you have DVDs. Now with DVDs, you actually get the video lessons. So now you can take the explanations, the demonstrations, the theoretical underpinnings of what a voice coach is trying to communicate. You can videotape that and put it on a DVD and send it out by mail. That moved on to videos that are now available on the internet. And they're kind of scattered everywhere. They're at YouTube. And it's only recently, in fact, I've never found an online video course or a vocal training course that uses a modern learning management system where you can organize the lessons sequentially and have the students mark as complete, take quizzes if you want to put in quizzes, to best organize and deliver the lessons and the demonstrations to the student. So then think about one other thing is that as these things become available, you now have this model where a voice coach has a student. But even today, it's so very, very rare that a voice coach will give the student MP3 files on a DVD or something they can download so they can do their training at home. There's almost like a natural conflict of interest, because the better the student gets at self-sufficiency and training at home, and they have all these great scales to work on at home, they may not want to take weekly lessons. They may not want to take lessons at all. So you rarely see any voice coach giving out audio material to train to. Generally, at the very best, they'll say, bring a handheld digital recorder and record the lesson. The problem with that is the lesson is not a workout. So it might be good to record, because then you can hear back some of the tips and corrections that you got during the lesson, but it's not a course. Or it's not vocal training, and there's a lot of interruptions, and what you want is an uninterrupted workout, just like you might have at the gym or if you go for a run. Okay, so what we do here at Vocal Nebula is we combine those two things, the best of both things. Is we combine all this new nomenclature, all this new understanding of the voice as an instrument, these new types of awareness and isolation exercises, negative training exercises, and we combine that with the latest technology of the internet to deliver these videos. So now, if you want to study 5 or 10 hours a day, you can. You don't have to wait a week for your next 1-hour lesson. If you want to go back and relearn and review some of the prior videos for things you might have forgotten, you don't have to pay the coach to say them over again. You already own them and you've already got them. So that's what we're doing here at Vocal Nebula. And let's talk more specifically about this course and how to use the website. So you've probably found the learning management system because you're watching this video. So what you'll know is when you log in, you should be taken to the course page where you'll see the course outline. There's also the courses menu item at the home page or on every page that should take you to the same page. Now, when you see the list, the outline of courses, you'll notice in the top right corner, not of the full screen, but of that course section, you'll see the words expand and collapse. Now you can expand it and see all the lessons and topics inside the course, or you can collapse it and just see the lessons. Either way, when you get into a topic, you'll then have kind of a right arrow and left arrow somewhere in there to help you move forward to the next topic or backward to the prior topic. One of the things I want you to be very, very aware of is underneath each video. Now there might be a little text, some links if I start adding some of that stuff, but somewhere down there's going to be a button that says mark is complete. I think that's what it says. So each time you finished a video and that page that the video's on, mark it as complete, because I'm watching all the students in the background. I want to see how they advance through the course, and this tells me that you're moving through the course, okay? So now, in addition to that, you'll see on the main menu, you'll see a button called Forum. So there is an online user forum for all the students of the Level 1 course. There's a separate forum for the Level 2 students, and I'll be there in the forum as well. And this is where you can go to ask questions or see the questions other students have already asked and look at the answers that I've provided for them. If I see the same questions coming up over and over again, I'll make videos for them, demonstrations, whatever I need to do to make sure that we have the best content available for that Level 1 course. Okay, additionally, there's a YouTube channel for Vocal Nebula, and I think some of you have probably seen it. And I have a list here of over 100 videos that will be free, that tips, techniques, tricks, some underpinning philosophical things, as well as some analogies between vocal training and other things that we encounter in life. So there's a lot of free material. There'll be hours upon hours of videos of free material at the YouTube channel as well. And what I'm trying to do, so why do I do this? I want this to be free because I think that this Level 1 course, as well as a lot of theory and philosophy about the voice, should be free. I don't think it should be held back from people who don't have the resources to pay for a course. So that's why I only charge for the training course. You can add this course, this Level 1 course is very complete. You can take all the information you learn in this course and either design your own training program at no cost to you, It'll be a little harder that way, or you can take what you've learned and apply it to somebody else's vocal training course or what you're learning with a private instructor. Okay. So I'm also trying to give you the ability to get to know me, the way I teach, including the way I use my voice. So I'm going to put up samples at YouTube and on this website of my singing, of my vocalizing to scales and a keyboard, so you can see how I use my voice and the level of competency that I've reached anyway. And I think in the 21st century now, anyone coaching the voice, they really don't have much of an excuse because it's so inexpensive to record your own voice, create your own YouTube channel, and put samples up there so the students can really see how you sing, how you voice act, whatever it is you're doing. So I'm trying to give you as much information as you can so you can evaluate me as a coach and as a vocal trainer to see if you want to pay for this next course, okay? And the type of student I'm looking for in that course is really someone who understands that you should be improving every day or every week, but it requires a great amount of attention and a lot of dedicated vocal training. So there can be quick fixes, but there's no great quick fix, one quick fix for everything. Vocal training is like athletic training. There's muscles that need to be developed, and they need to be developed over time. So what we're trying to be is intelligent students, hardworking students, so we can develop as fast as we possibly can. Okay? Another thing here at Vocal Nebula, in the direction I'm headed, is toward catering to the digital voice artist, the home studio recording digital voice artist. So once we get everybody started up with these vocal training courses, I will then be adding how to record your voice in a home studio at different budgets and all the different techniques involved. That's the direction we're headed. Okay? So this course, Vocal Training Level 1, is a prerequisite for everything. So get started with the next lesson. Good luck to you. Ask me questions in the forum. Study the videos at YouTube. And hopefully we'll see you in the Level 2 course when you finish up here. All right? Take care. Good luck with the course.